Hello everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well on this Tuesday evening. And tonight I've got a very special guest joining me. And he's back again. It's Dan from Rugby League Outlaws. He's a massive Cronulla Sharks fan. And yeah, you guys would have seen Dan on my channel a couple of times before. He's been on a few times. Obviously Rugby League Outlaws YouTube channel there. So go check them out. But Dan, it's great to have you on. We're going to preview this clash between the Sharks and the New Zealand Warriors. Played on Saturday, the 7th of June at 5:30 Australia time. So, yeah, it's good to see you, Dan. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, mate. Doing great, thanks. Thank you so much for welcoming me back. I think we lost last time I spoke to you, so I'm hoping to flip that. But otherwise, it's good to see you, mate.
Yeah, it's good to see you as well. It's great to always have you on the channel. I love listening to your thoughts on rugby league as a whole, and obviously you're a massive Sharks fan, and your Sharks are, once again coming into the season as one of those teams highly fancied to challenge for, a premiership. I know it's been a while since the Sharks won one, but you guys have always been up there in the top 8, top 5, but looking to go that one step better. In the top 4 at least challenge for the premiership. So. Yeah, we'll talk about the game. Actually, we'll talk about the game coming up. But I just want to get your thoughts going back on some of the off-season signings you made. Obviously, you made the big one, Fanua Blake. He came from the Warriors. How's that in Fanua Blake going this season so far for your boys? And are there any surprises for you this season so far for your team?
He's been utterly fantastic. I mean, when we signed him, it was sort of the missing piece. We missed that leader up front. We missed a bloke that could run for 150 metres a game. We missed a guy that could play 60-plus minutes. He's delivered all that and more. I think every single dollar we paid him, he's justified twice over. And I can't say more about him. There are Sharks groups that are saying, we haven't seen the best of Fanua Blake yet. Well, God help the rest of the competition if we haven't seen the best of him yet, because he's been utterly fantastic. The other signing we made was young Hohapapuru, has been absolutely breathtaking for the Jets, and I cannot believe he's not lining up against your boys this weekend. In terms of surprises, look, I'm probably his biggest fan, Kaolero, but not even I saw the jump that he's made. I mean, he scored a try in every game this year. He's defended extremely well. He had a shocking 5 minutes against the Roosters the other night, but other than that, I don't think he's lost a centre battle all year. I don't know if I'd call it a shock, but he's the one that I've been pleasantly surprised with. And to be honest, the negative shock is Braden Hamlin-Uele, who we fought off. You guys look like you'd signed him, and Cronulla got him late. Just hasn't lived up to what I'd expect. Hopefully he watches this and comes out this weekend and has a rip again.
Awesome. And, obviously you guys last year, just going back on it, you guys won finals match, finally won a finals match. You've been mighty relieved about that one because obviously there's so much talk and around the Sharks and not being able to, knock that monkey off their back, and they finally did it. And look, I think you guys had a good season last year. Obviously didn't quite get to the grand final, but it was still a good solid season. And then you guys welcomed Fanua Blake into your lineup. So Just actually looking at your results so far this season, you guys are currently sitting in 5th on the ladder at the moment with 16 points, 7 wins, 5 losses, and 1 bye, and your 4-1 record at home, and you're 4-3 away. So currently, you're form-wise, you're 3-1. So what do you make of your form this season so far? What are your thoughts on how the team's tracking on?
Pretty happy with where they're sit, to be honest. I don't feel like they played particularly well. And to sit 5th, really it's logjam. The competition is good. I think we're 1 win short of where we should be. If we'd beaten the Roosters going into that bye, I think you're talking about Cronulla are sort of the team outside the 4. I don't know if that'd put us in the 4, but we're sort of the team that not many people are talking about, which is good. That loss to the Roosters was embarrassing. I know any Roosters team is dangerous, but when you're missing 6 Origin players and you're coming in, you being the Sharks, are coming in after beating the Storm with a bye next week, you need to win that game. And I think if we'd had beaten them, I think people are talking very different, myself included, about the Sharks. There's been games where I've looked at them and thought, this team's going to be hard to beat. And then there's times that I looked at them and I'm like, this team is incredibly hard to watch. like without jumping ahead, if you told me it's 30-0 this weekend and don't tell me the winner, I'm not shocked. It could be anything. So it's fun in that respect. It's frustrating in the fact that, yeah, we got to a prelim and we added one of the best forwards in the game and can't seem to take that next kick on. But, mate, overall, the little complaints I have, and they are small compared to a lot of the teams in the competition, we're sitting pretty.
Yeah, you definitely are sitting pretty. If you look at obviously your side going into this year, what gives you the confidence? Like at the moment, you're in good form at the moment, but what gives you confidence that you could be challenging, for the premiership at the end of the, come the finals time? Like, what's going to be crucial for the Sharks to be, considering one of those high contenders for the comp this season?
I don't think there's a game we've been at full strength, and I know that's not really fair because name a team, they haven't been full strength all year.
Oh.
But when we had Tom Hazelton and Adam Finnell-Blake starting, we were winning every play almost, and then when they went off, it even leveled out a bit. But we saw Toby Rudolph come back, and he was killing blokes off the bench. He's injured again. It's sort of, Talakai's been injured. He got concussed and missed that time. I don't think we've got the bench right yet with Atkinson. I think we've got to have 4 forwards. Jesse Colquhoun's come in and playing lock that we haven't had for years, let's be honest. Cam McInnes has kicked up a level. They don't seem to all be able to go. The night that we did click, we missed 2 players and we beat the Storm at home. That you look at that and you think, oh, okay, like this team's got it. And I still don't reckon Nico Hines is playing particularly well. I think he's playing well, but not Dally M form. There hasn't been a game where 10 players have all played well yet. And I think if that happens, there'll be a game this year, mark my words, where we blow a team off the park. Like, I thought it was going to be South, so we took the foot off the pedal. We're going to beat a team by 40 points, and everyone's going to go, yep, the Sharks are clipped. Then the next week, we're going to lose a ridiculous game to a Roosters team or something. So I'm confident that if we play our best footy, there's probably only 2 teams that are better than us right now. Maybe 3, including you guys. We'll find out this weekend. But when it comes to the end, Canberra have a lot of rookies that haven't played finals football, whereas Cronulla have got some players that have got a lot of football under their belt now. So if we stay close enough and finish top 4, mate, I'm confident we can kick on and do something in the finals.
Yeah, and of course with this week's game on Saturday, it's a big one between us and you guys. Obviously, both teams are in pretty good form at the moment. Now, the team list has been announced this afternoon. Just gonna go through the team list actually. So I've got the Warriors lineup on you. I don't know if you've got the Sharks lineup on you, but we'll go through the team. So starting off with I'll go through the Wales team here first. There's quite a few big changes. So this week we've got Chance Nickel-Cook named at fullback. He was in great form last week. 300 plus running meters. Incredible work by Chance last week. Then Darren Watini-Zalise now on the wing with Adam Pompey and Kurt Capewell comes into the centres. So that means that Rocco Berry is out again, unfortunately. He's had a bit of a rough luck of injuries this season and last season. So real shame there. But Kurt Capewell comes in, the experienced Kurt Capewell in the centres with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wing. And then Chanel Harris-Tavita is our 5'8" with Luke Metcalf halfback. James Fisher-Harris prop, Wade Egan hooker, and Jackson Ford comes in for, unfortunately, Mitchell Barnett, who has been ruled out with a season-ending injury, ACL, which is still, as a fan, very gutting. To actually hear this news. So it's a real shame there. But Ford comes in, and then you've got Halasima back in the second row. He starts with Marata Niokore, and then Aaron Clark's our lock. So our bench is Tamari Martin, Jacob Laban, Dimitri Valmoanga, and our 17 of Tanisdale Smith, and then the reserves of Tom Ali, Sam Healey, Tanner Boyd, Ali Liatawa, and Tane Tuapiki. So that is our lineup there for the Warriors. So that's our side. Dan, having a look at the Sharks lineup, what are your thoughts here on the Sharks lineup, actually? What do you think in regards to this team this week?
Running through, so you got Will Kennedy at
Yep.
fullback. His form, Sione Katoa's back, which is huge because I'm really worried about your wingers. Jesse Ramian and Iro in the centres. Harodi stays on the wing, which he's probably earned. There's not many better options with Stone Street's equally nice. Trindle and Hines, obviously the halves. Up front, Adam Fanua-Blake and Oregon Kafusi. Blake Brayley's the 9. Nikora, Wilton and McInnes at the back row and lock. Siva Talakai, BHU, Jesse Colquhoun and Dan Atkinson round out the 17. I think Billy Burns is 18th and Hao Tapua is 19. And then you got the Hohepapurus and the like. It'll be scrapped and played for Newtown. Mate, Katoa's the big in.
Yep.
That's he suffered a horrible injury against you guys in the trial, actually. Took a shot, looked like he was going to set up a try. Cronulla absolutely murked it, but you go back and he was hurt.
Yeah.
Harodi on the wing, I think you guys are going to target him. Which side will Cable play
on? So Cable's been lined up here in his jersey 4. So I presume, I don't know if he marks KL Iro. It's KL Iro. I've got to remember. Because I've seen he's so KL Iro. Yeah, I've seen that. So KL Iro is actually, I think he'd be marking up against KL Iro there. I think.
I'm going to mark that down.
Or would be Hiroti. No, Hiroti's on the wing there. So
yeah, I like that matchup, mate. But I think it's probably the strongest team we can name right now. I don't like Dan Atkinson on the bench. I've been very vocal about that. I would have 4 big guys, especially against you guys with that monster pack. I don't know. Looking at the team though, mate, if Cronulla aren't in this up to their eyeballs, there's something wrong right there. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, obviously for us, it's the big talking point. There's no Barnett there, but of course Ford comes in, which was I think that was expected. To be quite honest, and Ford I think's been playing some good footy. I know there's a bit of a debate whether Ford is best coming off the bench or do you move Marafa Niokore to prop. I know some people have been discussing selections in regards to that. But yeah, look, Ford obviously coming in. I think he can do the job there. Obviously, he's no Barnett, but he can definitely do the job. Also Leka coming back into the starting lineup. I like that. He's back into the starting lineup. He had a strong performance off the bench last week, and he's been in good form this season too. So, I think they'll look at the 4 picks pretty strong for the Warriors this week, despite no Barnett. Fisher Harris and probably Ford need to step up a bit more and have big games, but I think they can do the job there. And then, of course, you got Aaron Clark as well, who's, been out, I think for me, is the most informed 30 in the game at the moment. And obviously he's been pulling in some strong performances for us there. And the bench is interesting, of course, with Tamari there, Laban and Vamawanga. And you got Telstar Smith who can come on, play a few minutes as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very strong... I think it's probably the strongest we could field, this team, without Barney in the side. But, I think in general it's a really good squad. I think it's a really good squad that we've named. But as for the Sharks, I think the Sharks have got a strong side. There's no doubting it. They've got some great talent in their squad. Trindle and Hines, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think as a combination, I don't know what your thoughts are, Dan, on the Hines and Trindle combination. I know it's always been a bit of a talking point for the Sharks fans, how that goes. How are they going this season so far? Because I know last year's a lot of talks around it in previous years that they haven't quite really formed a strong combination. But how do you feel of the Trindle Hines combination there at the moment?
I like it. I think it's got genuine origin class there. Obviously, Nico's played a few games, not particularly well, but he earned his selection at very least. There's people forget last year that everyone's saying, they spent all last year together. Well, they didn't, because Trindle missed lots of weeks for doing what he did. And then Nico got injured coming out of Origin and missed a lot of time. So it's developing. I love it when they're on, they're really on. Early in the year, Trindle was playing lights out footy and Nico was tagging along. It's flipped. The last 4 weeks, Nico's been really good. He hasn't been breathtaking, Trindle's been a bit average. Now, he did play well against Manly, other than the customary intercept, which he throws against Manly every time. It's become a joke, but it's almost legit now. I'm convinced that this is a halves combo moving forward. Trindle's kicking game is far superior. Long kicking, we've seen Hines hoof the ball a bit more in the last few weeks, which is encouraging to see. I just feel like if one of them are on and the hot hand, they're the 7 for the day. So I don't take too much notice of the 6 and 7, the numbers on their back. When they're off, they're awful though. Like there's no one that can grab the scruff, and it'll come up this week. If Luke Metcalf outplays either, all Cronulla are going to hear is why we let this kid go. For anyone watching, we didn't let him go. We wanted him to play centre. He said, I feel I'm a half, and he went to New Zealand for an opportunity. He's braining it over there, and I wish the kid nothing but the best. Him and Sam Healey, I wish them all the, they are brilliant kids, brilliant players. But I think in terms of talent, I think Trindle and Hines are exactly what Cronulla lead. I think if Hines just runs hard and lets Trindle take care of the fancy stuff, we can be in any game against any team. Last year, people forget that first half last year in the semi-final, second week, we blew the Cowboys off the park, right? It should have been 40-0. People forget, Tricky Trindle probably had the best half of any half that final series, grand final included. And yet he had 2 bad games and everyone wants him sacked. Like, they're a very good halves pairing, but they're not the finished product yet, which is scary. I'd help everyone if they ever do, but whether they can or not, I don't know. But for me, mate, double thumbs up on the halves.
Yeah, and what's just also the Sharks lineup, looking at it, Sione Katoa, obviously that is a massive win for you guys, huge in. I know he's had some big games against the Warriors in the past as well. So as a Warriors fan, I'm probably not relieved that he's back, to be honest, there. But obviously you got Kennedy as well. Kennedy's doing very well this year, looking at his form. I think he was up there in the Dally M's leaderboard before the voting went behind closed doors. So how do you think Kennedy's going this season? He's in some good form.
Well, his last 2 weeks have been pretty ordinary. He had a shocker against the Storm, and last week they were all bad. So you write that one off. Mate, Kennedy was leading the Dally M's, as you mentioned. I don't know what more he could have done. He came into the season, and I said he had till Magic Round, and Liam Ison would be the fullback. Now, Ison did his ACL. Unfortunately, that won't happen. But Kennedy's been brilliant. Okay, he had a couple of, down games. I'm hoping he has a good one against you, because I know he's torn his up previously. I also know he coat-hanged Reece Walsh and got sent off in that famous game down that afternoon. Bit of a mixed bag. I'm hoping it's an up rather than a down. But, man, Kennedy's been great. He's another one who just cops. It's like Nico. The Sharks lose, it must be Kennedy and Nico. People don't always watch the game. I'm not saying it's not them sometimes, but I've been very happy with Kennedy, mate.
Yeah, and then, of course, just looking at it, also Oregon, Kafusi, you got Neokora, Tague Wilden. How's Tague Wilden doing? He's a pretty solid, good, underrated forward there at your side there. I think he's actually playing pretty well. But what is your take on Tague Wilden? And of course, you got the captain there, Cameron McInnes. He's a workhorse himself. He always makes a ton of tackles as well. He's gets in a lot of work on the field. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on Tague Wilden there?
Mate, I love Wilden. He was playing lights out footy, smashing people. Just really, he hammered Ola Kawatu in the one-on-one battle in Perth. Unfortunately, got injured and has missed a couple of weeks. Billy Burns has filled in admirably, but let's be honest, the gap in class is quite noticeable, and I'm really happy Wilden's back. Your back row is worrying me. Your wingers frighten me. So I'm hoping if we can keep them in check and let Nico and Fanua Blake and our where I think we've got a slight advantage go to work, that's good. But yeah, mate, when I saw Wilton's name there, I was very, very happy.
Yeah, and also just looking at some of the match. Just looking at the Warriors. Well, from an opposition fan and from an outsider looking in, what are your thoughts on the Warriors this season? How do you rate what they've been doing this year? Because obviously round one was a disappointing performance against the Raiders in Vegas. It was a poor performance we weren't expecting as fans, and I think it was a bit of expectation in the off-season as well that we could show some improvement, and then we went on a bit of a tear, winning a few games in a row, and then obviously we lost to Canberra last time, but then we went last week and we beat the Bunnies. So what are your thoughts on the Warriors? Because a lot of people, had the Warriors. Well, at the start of the season, a lot of people were tipping Warriors and teams like the Raiders down there in the bottom four. So Dan, what are your thoughts on how the Warriors are tracking on at the moment?
Yeah, preseason I had you guys about 10th. I'll talk preseason then where you're at now. I just didn't think they could bounce back after last year. Fanua Blake, I thought was a massive loss. He and Barnett was so huge for you last year. I know Fisher Harris has been a pretty handy in, but I don't quite put him at the same level. Where you sit now, though, doesn't shock me. That back three are giants. Like, Tuivasa-Sheck's one of my favourite players. I love the bloke. I'm so happy he's playing wing and not the centres. I thought he was absolutely wasted there. You want him with the kick returns. Charles Nickel-Clockstown, mate. I know I should hate the bloke because of what happened last time you guys played at Shark Park, how he set up the win and Troy might have even scored it and got up and was giving Sharks fans grief and spirit finger and stuff. I love that. That's excellent shit, Houser. I'm a huge fan of Chance. I wanted him at Cronulla. I thought if he and Kennedy swap, we're right in it. He's a genius. I think centres have played worldly football. I didn't see it. Rocco Berry, flat chat didn't rate. He shut me up quick. I love Luke Metcalf. As soon as he signed for you guys, I was really happy. I thought you got a handy 6. Turns out he's a pretty good 7 too. Sam Healey was a brilliant pickup. You will see some brilliant football from this kid. I know he's been great in New South Wales Cup and he had that brilliant debut, but he's superstar. Mate, it's the back row that surprised me. Like Nick Corey and Catewell. Okay, they're decent options, They've been bashing people all season. And that young kid, that Annette, who may or may not be watching, has just waxed lyrical about. But I'm super impressed with what you guys do. And Wade Egan. Mate, if you were to tell me who's the most underrated player in the game, if Wade Egan's not in the discussion, you're having the wrong discussion. I'm stoked. I'm one of these guys who's like, up the wires when you're winning. And then you play Cronulla. I'm like, geez, I hope you guys play bad this week. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And obviously Wade is a lot. He doesn't get a lot of praise, but he does all the hard yards well, and obviously gets us in good positions. He's just one of our best hookers at the club. He has been and very very underrated quite for a few years now. But you talk about Sam Healey. You mentioned it. He came over from Newtown. Well, what did you think? Like you guys, were you gutted to see him go because he wanted another direction, and he went to the Warriors. But were you guys surprised that you guys didn't keep him? Because I think obviously very talented. I was watching. I didn't know a lot about him until last year when I was watching some of the New South Wales Cup games. When I was watching Newtown, and he was quite instrumental in that Newtown Jets side. What are your thoughts on Sam Healey?
We were spewing when we heard he went. Now, I don't know how much I could say here, but we caught on pretty early that they weren't going to offer him a contract. Yeah. And we knew someone from Canberra who was like, they're looking at him. And I was like, no, don't look at him. Don't look at him. Hoping Cronulla, would see what he'd done. You're right. He was absolutely instrumental last year in the Jets winning the premiership, and he was great in the grand final. Those that don't watch, Jaden Beryl's probably the best New South Wales Cup hooker by a long distance, and I'd probably put Healey at 2 or 3 or maybe 4 at a stretch. But this kid had so much talent, and he was coming on and ripping teams apart, making heaps of meters, and then Beryl would come in at lock, and then they'd shift late, and Healey would go back to the bench. When you guys sign him, I was like, damn it, they got a good one here. And I don't – usually when your players go, you're like, I hope he has a shocker and we show him, blah, blah, blah. But this kid was so nice when we met him at Newtown games, and he signed a jersey that my daughter was holding, and I can't say enough about him as a person. As a player, he'll play plenty of first grade for you guys. I know we got Blake Brayley, who's a pretty handy number 9. But Jaden Beryl's turning 30 or the wrong side of 30. I don't know. He looks like he's 23. He's been 23 for 15 years. But I don't know why we let him go, because he's playing the same role he was with you guys. It's not like he's walked straight into first grade. Makes me think that Cronulla didn't rate him, which is downright horrible. he's been brilliant. And, I wish him the best. I wish he was still at the Jets and in the Sharks lineup, mate.
Yeah, and also touched on Luke Metcalf, and Luke Metcalf's had look, at the start of the season, he was coming in a new role, being the 7 jersey instead of the 6, and I think some people, were a bit harsh on him after round 1, I just said, give the guy patience and time, and he's starting to, show some improvement. He's getting better and better each week. Obviously, I think last week probably had a bit of a mixed bag in some parts. Obviously his goal king is still something that probably needs to be, obviously looked at, improved on. He needs to improve on that one. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Luke Metcalf? Because you would have watched him from, when he was at the Sharks, and what did you think of him coming through? Because like the Warriors, as a Warriors fan, I didn't know too much of him until I watched a few games of him. And then I thought, this is a good talent we were bringing. I knew we had a talent coming to the club. So, obviously, then he had a few injury issues since he's been at the club. And then, this year's so far so good. So, what are your thoughts on, Luke Metcalf and how he's continuing to improve? And I think he's going to only get better. But what are your thoughts on him?
He's been really good this year. I know he had the slow start, but he's a young kid learning a new role. I thought he and Tamari Martin were your halves combo. I thought Metcalf was 6, Tamari Martin the 7. That's been proven wrong quite happily. But people will forget a couple of years ago, Cronulla had I think it was the NYC Holden Cup, Toyota Cup, whatever it was at the time. Cronulla won the minor premiership by 8-10 points, and we set records, and the points scored were astronomical, eye-watering. And people forget that Cole Flanagan scored record points, but Luke Metcalf had about 30 try assists that year. When Metcalf got injured, we bombed out in the finals because Flanagan couldn't run the team. It was Metcalf running the team, and Flanagan was just a player who was there all the time. So when he signed with Manly, we were all spewing. We're like, we've let a kid go.
Yeah.
This is the future. Then when he came back to Cronulla and he debuted and Ronaldo put him over for that try that Ronnie could have walked in, you're like, okay, here we go. And then when he was linked with you guys and, Cronulla had some pretty handy players in front of him, I'm like, we're going to lose this kid and it sucks. So I'm glad to see him doing well. Maybe one day, hopefully he does the Chad Townsend, spends some time with you guys, comes back, wins premiership with Cronulla when Nico retires. I don't know, I'm just floating that. But he's been exceptional. He's so fast. He's one of the best running halves in the game. I know he got 100 and something meters the other day. You're right. He did have an up and down game, but he did score that try out of nowhere. So, ended up winning the game. I know you can say that about any try. No, if I was you, I'd be stoked with Metcalf and Harris Tavita too. He shut me up.
Oh yeah, he's continuing to show. Also that he's continuing to develop with Metcalf. Them as a combination, it's not clicking 100%, but it's it will get it will start clicking, with those combinations as well as a whole. And I know that at the moment there's still a few areas as well that aren't there at the moment, but that will come in time. And obviously, just another thing I want to touch on is with your side. Obviously, look at your bench here. So Talakai and Cahoon and Atkinson and Braden Hammanueli. So if you look at the Sharks bench here, what are your feelings with this bench? With the amount of minutes that some of these players will get on Saturday. How do you think coach there in Fitzgibbon? How do you think he's going to go with rotating some of these players? How many minutes they're going to get? And how do you think your bench is doing this season, like as a whole? How do you think they're going?
I preferred when Tom Hazelton was starting. Kafusi was coming off the bench.
Yeah.
My thoughts on Dan Atkinson are well known. I love him as a bloke and as a player, but his role is just pointless. You should give that to a big forward. Craig Fitzgibbon's bench rotation is absolutely his one weakness, and he probably hasn't learned. There's one player who will play 7 minutes. Looks like this week, I'm hoping it's Hamlin Ueli, although we need the size. Dan Atkinson will probably play for 7 or 8 minutes. Fanua Blake, I'll say, will play 60 at least, and Kafusi and Hamlin-Uele will split probably 40-40. I need to see more out of Sifa Talakai. He's come on and body blokes left, right, and centre, and then been taken off. I think he played 14 minutes the other night in a stint where we were getting flogged by the Roosters. You need that player. Look, Jesse Colquhoun's the player that most people won't know. He's a freakish talent. He was our best prop last year before he did his ACL on his return to first grade, which sucked. I was right there in line with it, unfortunately. He's not as good as Isaiah Yeo or Jake Trbojevic, so please don't get it right, but he plays in that sort of stead where he can run to the line, pivot, and put players through holes. Not a lot of locks can do that, Cam McInnes included. So I want to see big minutes from Colquhoun this week. Look, mate, Hamlin-Uele's been, I'm going to call it spade a spade. He's been very poor this year. Had one good game. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then he backed it up. He was an absolute pudding the other week against the Roosters. Like, I was so annoyed at his lack of input. If he doesn't come out and make 120 metres against you guys, I think this is his last game for the season. I see plenty of potential there. I take it over the Warriors bench, but geez, I'd like to see Rudolph and Hazelton on that bench, mate, because I think that lack of size is really going to hurt us against your monsters.
Yeah, and what's going on with Toby Rudolph and Hazelton at the moment? Are they injured at the moment, or what's going on there?
Yeah, Tom's got an AC joint. He had surgery, so he's out for 3 months, which is horrible because he was playing well. Yeah. Toby's due back in a week or two. He got injured. Yep. I think it was a knee or an ankle. It was a lower leg. He just came back from a surfing injury, as funny as that sounds, in the preseason. Was looking really good, got injured, and it's like, oh, here we go. But Toby's not a player who is known for, huge injury stints. So, it happens. Talakai, one of the most impactful players in the competition, and he's averaging about 22 minutes. Like, he needs to play 45 against you guys. We need him. He and Aaron Clark. Put that, get those two one-on-one and let them bash each other. That's what I'm tuning in for. So, mate, it's frustrating. But you can't have them all. You can't have all the players. So,
yeah, and just key matchups. I think there's quite a few actually. Just looking at it, what do you think's a matchup here? Maybe that you guys will be maybe looking at as an area that you guys have to get on top of in this game. Is it going to be one in the forwards? How do you think it's going to be one in the forwards, or is it going to be one in the halves there, or how do you see it?
AFB and Fisher Harris is the big one.
Yeah.
If we can stop your bloke from smashing us, and if Adam can get on top of him, they'll go a huge way to victory. Will Kennedy and Chance is another one. They're very different players. Kennedy's not going to run 300 metres. He's not going to make 8 tackle breaks, but he's got ball playing that Chance just doesn't have. The other one for me is Iro and Catewell. If they match up, then we need to go left early and we need to go often because Iro is stronger than any centre in the competition. He's defensively, I think, third behind Herbie and maybe Crichton. There might be another one there I'm missing. They're the three that if we win those three, we probably win the game. Obviously, you're going to say Hines versus Metcalf, but they're both playing exceptional football. I think they're the big three. I think if Kennedy doesn't man up, you guys will pepper him with the high ball all day, smash us. It's going to be hard to get out of there because if Sione can't keep Roger in check, it'll be your Wateni Zelezniak, sorry. If he can't keep him in check, it could be a long night for the Sharkies.
Yeah, and I think for us, the key for us is just looking at obviously we were going to make sure we limit the impact that Fanua Blake has, and that's going to be really really tough. Obviously we've no Barnett there, and talk about how big of that, that's going to swing. I don't know how you feel. Is it going to swing that sort of a bit more in your advantage? And I think obviously our forwards are very good as well. You got Fish Harris. Ford, you got Niokore, and then got the young bloke in Halasima as well, which is a inexperienced player, but he's been playing some good footy. And then of course you got Clark as well. I don't know what your thoughts are on Clark. His form has been outstanding this season. His form has been from round 1 onwards. His form has just been immense for us. So, what are your thoughts here on that? Do you think that without Barnett, is it something maybe an era that the Sharks will look to exploit, or do you think the Warriors maybe if you look at their lineup, they can actually cover on that, that sort of area. And maybe it's another area that the Sharks might need to look at, another area that they could, exploit the Warriors in this game.
Selfishly, I'd rather play you guys without Barnett because he's a monster.
Yeah.
Aaron Clark, I love. When the Titans sort of let him go to you guys, I was shocked. They just didn't use him right. He's a battering ram 13. He's not a bloody well, they use him as like a bench hooker at times. So I thought they got that wrong. Man, I'm a huge fan of Aaron Clark. When you signed him, I was like, okay, he's outshone anything I could have predicted. I'm not going to claim I know that. The forward packs are pretty close on paper. That Halasima, he's a genius. Woolton, Nickera. I mean, there's a lot of talent in that forward pack. It's hard to find. Look, if Fanua Blake gets on top of Fisher Harris, I think Cronulla got the better forwards. But I'm not saying he can. I know we didn't play a full strength team in the trial, but I think Fisher Harris. I think he dropped the ball the first hit up. We were all laughing, and then he made a huge hit up in the next one. So looking forward to seeing how those two go. They could be lining up for New Zealand at the end of the year as the two props. I know Tarpany will probably be 13, but but I was so upset to see. I hate seeing anyone get down with an ACL, but especially Barnett, a player who's had some off-field stuff, has turned his career and his perception around, was breathtaking for New South Wales. Makes a tackle, innocuous, grabs it, and then you're like, cool, he's out for the season. Yeah. Sucks, but as a Sharks fan, you gotta. It's better for us than it is for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. It is probably as a fan, obviously we're now looking at it. Obviously gutted. But now I think the Warriors' mindset, I think Webby's mindset from this team will be the next man up mentality. It's like we've got to have that next man up mentality, and I'm sure the side's not going to have any excuses. We know Barney's a big blow, but hopefully Barney can come back for in that off season, get himself ready for the next year. And it's a shame because he was in such good form, and it was just real gutting. But look, we've got Ford there, and I think Ford's had some. I was being pretty vocal last year, pretty critical that Ford was in some great form. His form should have dropped off. He had his moments last year, but then just being back in the side, he's played some good footy. He's had some games where he started. He's also had some games where he's been on the bench as well. So I think he's had some solid showings, solid outings in the Warriors jersey this year. And his form wasn't the greatest last year, but he has turned around his form a bit this season. So, and of course, Aaron Clark, not more, lot, it could be, don't really need to praise him more because he's been so bloody excellent for us there. But I don't know. There's so many exciting matchups for me for this game in particular. Like the 4-pack, obviously, for Noah Blake, for Harris. You got a few. You got Neokora. I think we'll be marking up against. I think it's Halasima or Neokore. I'm pretty sure.
Which side are you boys on? Who's the left?
So Leka Halasima has been named in the 11 jersey, and of course Neokora has been named in the 11. So. I presume, they'll be marking up against each other there, on that side of the field. So
Nicker is on the right, so
he's on the right. Yeah,
that'll be a big clash. Be looking forward.
Yeah.
Nicker will want to get on top of him too. We want to quiet him down because coming for that Kiwi jersey at the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the halves. Obviously, we've got Trindle, Harris, Tavita, Hines and Metcalf. But two players in Hines and Metcalf. Hines has actually had some good form lately, and then of course Metcalf as well. He's been just in some good form, but obviously last week had a bit of a up and down sort of game, but he's been in good form regardless for the other games as well. So, but yeah, I think the just looking at the stats as well. I just want to go through the stats for this game and. The head-to-head record between the Sharks and the Warriors, it's quite close between the Sharks and the Warriors in terms of head-to-head. So they played 46 times since 1998. Obviously the Sharks actually won 27, so the Warriors have won 19. Still a few wins ahead there, but still, like in our previous meeting last year, we came to Sydney and beat you guys in a 30 points to 28 scoreline where Sean Johnson had, obviously that last farewell game and produced one of the fairy tale moments, which you would have think crazy. But obviously the Sharks, were going into that. I think you guys were going into that game already locked in the final spot anyway. And you guys just we just came over there and shocked you, which was given that was the last game we were playing for nothing but sending out Sean Johnson high there. But form guy, just looking at it, you guys have won against the Eagles 28-18, one against Manly 30-14, one against the Storm, which was a big one, 31-26. That was a big result for you guys there at home. And losses to the Tigers 18-20. Roosters is the one you mentioned earlier in the stream, which was the one you felt was the most disappointing. At 42-16. I think that was a home game for you guys, wasn't it? Was it home or was it in
Gosford?
Gosford. It was in Gosford. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you guys.
Game,
yeah,
awful.
That one was a shocker. That one. Yeah, I was surprised by that. Albeit the Roosters aren't a bad side, but yeah, I was actually surprised with the scoreline. And so far, you're looking at your points scored this season. So 292 points conceded, 248. Completion rates are pretty good there, 80%, not too bad. 87.8 tackle efficiency, points scored. So the Sharks have scored 24 points on average, and then average points conceded 20. So your defense isn't too bad there. Dan, it's not too bad. Your tech's all right in shades. I don't know what you think about it there. And then the Sharks' record at home is 58%. It's very strong there, as you would expect. And our record at Sharp Park's 6 out of 19, 32%. So then the betting prices, just looking at Warriors, $2.66 at Sportsbet Australia. So the Sharks are paying at $1.48. Yeah, what are your thoughts there on those particular stats? How's your team going managing up against your attack and your defense? How do you rate your generally your attack and defense this season? So looking at
I think we were the second best defensive team going into our last game and copped 42 against the Roosters. I know you can't take a game out, but if you take that out, I've been really happy with Cronulla's defense. The attack can be stuttering or it can be brilliant. There's no real in between. You either get breathtaking Sharks or you get headbang against the wall Sharks. Seem to be completely random. I'm happy enough with both. I think the points are there. Cronulla get into a situation, though, that if the free-flowing stuff isn't happening, like we saw against the Bunnies and, Manly in the most recent game at Brookvale, even the Storm at times, Cronulla get frustrated and they try and barge over and force a lot of errors, which is why that completion rate, which you say an 80% shocks me. I could have sworn blind it was closer to 70.
Yeah.
I'm happy enough with both. Cronulla's home record this year's been good. That loss to the Bulldogs was awful. We did have a home game away at Perth and one in Brisbane for Magic Round. So, it is different. The fact you guys have beaten us there twice in the last two times annoys me greatly. I know we got one back out in round one last year, which we never win round one. But last year, Cronulla had that game parcelled up against you guys. Euro got sin binned. We let you back in. We had the game one. Jack Williams drops the ball. They throw Johnson throws a beautiful cutout, and I think Charles Nicholl-Clockstar goes straight through Stone Street, who was like stuck, like shag on a rock. That was frustrating. But 2 years ago, when we were like 30-0 up or 20, whatever it was up, and you guys ran us down that second half, we tried to kick into a gale wind. That's one of the worst losses I've ever seen for Cronulla. Not in terms of the performance, because for 70 minutes we were really good. But to throw away a lead against that Warriors team in that way was embarrassing. That's where the wires came from, don't forget, and that's what kickstarted you guys into a prelim. So you're welcome. With the greatest of respects to yourself, I don't want to see that this year. I want to see Cronulla just go down. I think the odds are ridiculous. I can't believe Cronulla $1.40. Get on the Warriors. Get responsibly, but get on the Warriors. This game's much, much closer than that, mate.
Yeah. I think obviously I don't know if you've watched watched our games, obviously when we've won our games, they've been close, tough, gritty matchups, matches, and then where we've lost games, obviously that loss to Melbourne was a hiding in itself, and then the Raiders one up at in Vegas, and then the most recent loss we had was against the Raiders, but at home, but that was only a grinding 16. I think it was 16-10 was the scoreline that the Raiders beat us by that day. So I think there's a couple of things that the Warriors, if you look at the Sharks and maybe areas of Sharks look to target, maybe defensively, I think we've been pretty solid this season. We've done pretty well in that area, and it's a thing that we've struggled in the past. Just looking at last year as well, the attack is still not quite there for us at the moment. So if there's one thing, the Sharks will be hoping that the Warriors' attack is not clicking in this game as well. So that might give them a bit of a little bit of hope there. But other than that, obviously you guys will be wanting to maybe throw a lot of things at the Warriors defensively, because the Warriors defense has been rock solid. Obviously last week we conceded a few more points than we have usually conceded this year. With the Bunnies, they in that second half managed to throw a lot at us in that second half. So I don't know, maybe it's something the Sharks might have a look at going forward. From that game, maybe just look at what the second half was, because we were up 30 points to 12, and then obviously Latrell just decided to be Superman and try his hardest to get them back in the game, and then they just fell short. So I think it's one thing that the Warriors maybe need to be a bit wary of, is the Sharks. You guys have got the attacking prowess to chuck at us there in this game, and I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a tough half-forward contest. I know the Sharks will be favourites going at it at home, which they deserve to be favourites, no doubt about it. But our boys, our form away from home has actually been quite good this season. Yeah, we've done very well. We've won a few games on the road, and they're not been easy games as well. We've had to really tough it out, especially against some very good quality attacking sides. But yeah, I think just get into a prediction for this game. Dan, what do you think? Because I have a feeling this is going to be another one of those tough, hard-fought games, close games between the two sides. I don't think either side is going to blow each other off the field in this one. So I think it'll be really tight. You guys coming off the bye, how do you feel that, you guys coming off the bye? Is it coming at a good time for you guys, or is it stalled your momentum a bit? I don't know, because, some people can say a bye is a good thing. Some people can say the bye is not a good thing. So how do you feel about going into this game? You're coming off the bye, you guys are fresh and ready. We're going to be having to be wary of it. So yeah, how do you feel about that one?
I think the bye came way too late. I wish it had come before that Roosters loss. Cronulla needed it, mate. And I'm not using it as an excuse, but Vegas, Townsville, etc., etc. So I'm happy that the bye came this week. The Cronulla definitely needed it. If they don't come out with a different attitude this week, then there are problems, because they got wiped by a New South Wales Cup team, all respect to the Roosters. And if they can't get up to the Warriors, who are, flying right now, there's absolute trouble. In terms of predictions, obviously I'm going to tip Cronulla because I have to. At home, if it was over there, I'd tip you guys without a second thought. I see a grind. I think Cronulla have got a lot of points in them, but you guys are too good defensively to run riot. I think if Cronulla win by 10, that'd be a damn good day at the office, because that Warriors team worries me, mate. Your wingers are just. I think Ronaldo and Stone Street are magnificent. Katoa and Hiroti, they're okay. I look at Roger and I think, oh God help us. So if we keep Roger down, I think that and watch DWZ's made a career out of beating up on us too. So I think if we keep your wingers in check, mate, I think Cronulla can win. We'll go 8. We'll say we're up by 6 and we get a late penalty where you guys maybe strip the ball, take the 2, win by 8. We get out of there, we party up Cronulla. But wouldn't shock me if you guys get the chocolates, just quietly.
Yeah, I reckon we will win this. Yeah, I'm gonna tip us in. Obviously, head's probably saying Sharks, but I'm gonna go with my heart. Obviously, got to back my boys in, of course. But yeah, Warriors. I'm gonna say Warriors 20. I'll go 26. Sharks 6. Actually, no, 26-20. I'll go 26-20, and I'll go the Warriors 26-20 and a nail biter, a nail biter. Every win this season for the Warriors has been a nail biter. So look, I'd love to see us win comfortably, but I don't think it's going to be the case against you guys, especially over there as well. And another road trip for us. So another trip from Auckland back up to Sydney again. Yeah, I think we will just win it. First try score, why not? First try score, I'm going to throw in. I'll go RTS, the man himself, Roger. Roger to have asked the Chicks to score. And anytime try score, Luke Metcalf's having a knack of scoring tries this year. He's scored about 7 or 8 tries. He's the top Warriors try scorer this season. So there's a stat for you. So Warriors, yeah, I'll get Warriors to win, and then I've got try scorers of Roger Tuivasa-Sheck first try scorer and Luke Metcalf. And I'll tell you what, Ali Leitau's been named in the reserves. Now, I don't know if there's a real possibility that we could see him maybe come in the centres and Capewell drops back to the forwards. I don't know whether that's could happen, but there's a chance that it might happen. I think watch the space. It could happen this weekend, but at the moment it looks like Webby is the moment. I think something about Leitao at the moment. He's probably not. Maybe he's just come back from injury and he's not really had enough match fitness. So that's what explains why he's been named in the New South Wales Cup side again this week. So yeah. Any last words about Dan? What are your thoughts? Last words about the game, and yeah, good luck to your boys this weekend. May the best team win. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Mate, absolute pleasure as always. Likewise to you. I just think Roger's going to be licking his lips looking at what Tupou did to Hiroti 2 weeks ago. And if Webby's any sort of coach, he'll have that marked on the chalkboard. I think Keilero scores a try. I think he keeps his record going. I think he's going to beat Peachy. I can't remember whether it's this week or next, but whatever. Put him down anytime try scorer. But mate, I think this could be 30-all or 30-0 either way. They're just teams are so random. I see a close contest. I see one where we're shaking each other at the end of the game. I think this is a cliche, but I think rugby league will be the winner here because this ain't no Tigers, Dragons rubbish. This is real deal rugby league. And dare I say a finals preview?
Ooh, yes. Well, you just never know. We could be meeting again in the finals, and if we do meet in the finals, I'll definitely get you back on for another preview.
If we lose this weekend, no deal, because that'd be twice. So, no, of course, mate. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, it's great to have you on, Dan. It's great to have you on again. It's been a joy having you come on and chat about the game. And yeah, go and check out Rugby League Outlaws on YouTube. That's where you'll find Dan and Terry, who do some great work with the stuff they bring out on the Rugby League Outlaws YouTube channel. So yeah, go and check them out there. And yeah, guys, make sure you like the live stream. Please hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. It's much appreciated. And also don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. We're trying to get to that 3K subscriber mark. So yeah, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free as well, guys. Don't forget, it's free. And it is also much appreciated. Helps the channel as well. But thanks for watching, everyone. Looking forward to Saturday evening. And yeah, go the Wars, up the Warriors, and enjoy the rest of your week, everyone. Cheers.